The story begins as a mighty fire dragon descends from the sky and attacks the royal kingdom, a nation famous for its powerful sorcery. It lands on top of the city walls and looks down on the tiny humans below. The kingdom immediately fights back with a coordinated magic barrage, but the fire dragon does not even flinch. Instead, it answers with a devastating blast of fire breath that engulfs the city in flames. While everyone believes their peaceful lives are about to end, the fire dragon suddenly looks at a crying little girl before flying away, leaving the kingdom with one last warning. Long ago, the fire dragon's mother lived deep within the spirit forest, where animals, magical beasts, and spirits all lived together. One day, she discovered a cave that was perfect for building a nest and protecting her egg. After warming the egg with her flames, she flew off to hunt for prey. However, humans mercilessly struck her down with a spear through the head, sending her crashing to the ground for an instant death. Later that night, a mother cat from the highly intelligent Kate Sith race discovered the cave and decided it was the perfect place to safely raise her own kittens. Before long, she gave birth to 3 adorable babies. Then one day, while feeding them, the dragon egg finally hatched. The mother cat realizes the little dragon is not dangerous, so she warmly welcomes it into the family. The next day, she takes all of the children out to hunt and tells them to carefully watch and learn. She pounces on an unlucky rat, smacks it away, and secures dinner with ease. Soon, the clever Kate Sith babies can already use different kinds of magic through their tails, while the baby dragon struggles to keep up. Later on, the little dragon amazes everyone by taking flight with its wings, but it suddenly coughs out a tiny puff of fire before crashing back to the ground. Just then, as the mother cat praises the baby dragon for its unique magic, she suddenly notices humans nearby. She quickly teaches her children an important lesson, explaining that those are humans from the beginner's forest, where they often come to hunt. Some humans are kind, but others are merciless, and many have powers greater than bears, which makes cats like them easy prey. Her children immediately realize why they must learn a human scent so they never run into one by mistake. Hearing that, the mother cat smiles proudly because her babies are almost ready to leave the nest. A few days later, however, the mother cat is suddenly caught inside a human summoning spell, and her kids beg her not to leave them. The mother cat reassures them that she trained them to become excellent hunters, so they will be fine as long as they stay together and protect one another from the dangerous beasts that roam the forest. Before she disappears, she tells them they may discover more siblings somewhere in the forest who will recognize them by their scent, and she leaves them with one final message, saying she is incredibly proud of all of them. After that, the 3 baby cats leave the cave, but the baby dragon stays behind and hunts alone every day. One day, he is resting outside the cave when he sees his older sister return with a black-furred cat. A few months later, she gives birth to 3 adorable kittens, so the fire dragon plays with them and teaches them how to hunt. He shows them not to stick their heads into holes they cannot fit through, and not to wag their tails when they get excited because it scares away the prey. He also teaches them how dangerous humans are. Before long, the kittens leave the cave as well and thank their uncle for everything he taught them. The next day, a white cat arrives who has the scent of his siblings. She explains that her father told her she would find a safe place to raise her babies if she came to his brother's cave because he is a big-winged cat with a big heart who would definitely help her. Her heartfelt words bring the fire dragon to tears. As time passes, he grows older and learns how to speak with spirits, who give him the reality check that he is not actually a cat. He immediately tells his siblings that he is really a magical beast. Yet the young cats act like it is no big deal and excitedly ask him to teach them some cool magic. Later that day, he flies through the forest and spots humans hunting down countless cats. He immediately rushes in and burns them in his rage. He cannot understand why humans are cruel enough to hurt so many cats, and the spirits explain that they hunt them for their fur. The fire dragon knows he could forgive them if they hunted cats for food, but hunting them only for their fur fills him with rage, so he attacks the human kingdom as the defender of all cats. During his attack, he does not stop because of the crying little girl. Instead, he notices a white cat that looks just like his siblings, so he gives the humans one final warning that they will face his wrath if they ever hunt cats for any reason other than food before flying back into the forest. Many months later, the royal prince's maids tuck him into bed, but he cannot fall asleep. So he quietly sneaks out of his room and starts practicing his magic. He swings his sword around and tries to set a leaf on fire, but he fails so badly that a cat wanders over to watch him. The royal prince, who was born with very weak magical power, gives up after realizing the spell still will not work. However, he is completely charmed when he notices the cute cat sitting beside him and happily gives her endless chin scratches. With that, he gives the spell one more try and finally burns the leaf to a crisp. So both of them celebrate the huge moment together. When he notices the cat cheering him on, he gets curious if it came from the forest, remembering his teachers saying that any forest cat must be returned with care, because the imperial dragons would burn the entire kingdom down if even a single one of them was harmed. Terrified, he lets the cat go and hopes it safely finds its way back to the forest on its own. The next morning, he cannot find the cat anywhere and realizes it really did go home. However, that night he finds the cat waiting in the exact same spot and begins practicing his magic again, only to fail spectacularly in front of his new friend. Even so, he refuses to give up and keeps trying until the tiny leaf finally burns to a crisp, making the cat clap in appreciation. After that, the cat comes to watch the prince practice his magic every single night, and the two become such close friends through all the fun times they share that the cat starts speaking to him in words. One night, the cat returns with red berries from the forest, so the prince thanks his buddy for the gift by offering him cookies he secretly sneaked out of the royal kitchen. The two happily dig in until only one cookie remains, so the prince tells his buddy to eat the last one. Instead, the cat lifts it into the air and cleanly splits it into two perfect halves with wind magic. The sight leaves the prince completely amazed, and he promises to work even harder until his own magic becomes just as incredible, all while someone in the shadows quietly spies on the two. The next day, the king wonders what he should do after hearing that the prince has become friends with a Kate Sif from the forest. He confirms that his son is not forcing the cat to stay because the imperial dragon spared the kingdom before, and it would have no reason to attack if he explained that the cat was simply his son's friend. Right then, alarm bells ring throughout the kingdom as the dragon descends from the sky once again. All of the soldiers and innocent citizens immediately stand back if they value their lives. At that moment, the prince's cat friend walks up to the dragon, and the two begin talking in meows, leaving the soldiers completely confused about what they are saying. One brave soldier says he can understand them a little, and explains that the cat wants to teach a human child magic, while the dragon is shocked that he lives in a human city just to help the prince. The cat argues that the boy is so hopeless at magic that he wants to help the kid, when the imperial dragon angrily reminds his nephew that he warned everyone that humans are dangerous beasts. His nephew argues that the prince is his friend. Just then, the prince arrives on the scene, and the cat happily introduces his friend to his uncle. Seeing that, the dragon suddenly remembers that a cat also protected the humans the last time he attacked the kingdom. The imperial dragon goes speechless when the cat repeats his uncle's own lesson that friends should always be cherished, and if the prince grows up to become king, he will respect and cherish all cats in return. Hearing that, the imperial dragon shyly replies that he will ask the human king for permission and leave the decision to him. After that, the dragon creates a giant magic circle on the ground that wraps him in a blinding light, and literally transforms him into a winged cat. He then orders the soldiers to deliver a message in the human language that he wishes to meet the human king. With that, the prince and the two cats head to the king's chambers, where the king fearlessly walks up to the dragon and sits down beside him. After the two formally introduce themselves, the king says that one of the dragon's cats has been looking after his son. The dragon replies that the cat is one of his nephews whom he personally taught how to hunt and use magic. He then explains that his nephew somehow became friends with the prince and wants to teach him magic, but he will only allow it if the king allows it. The king is surprised because the magic cat's use is considered a legendary secret in sorcery, so teaching it to the prince could eventually mean spreading that knowledge throughout the kingdom. To his surprise, the dragon has no issue with that because he also learned the magic from spirits, and anyone who can speak with spirits can use the high-level magic. The human king is stunned because spirit magic is the greatest secret in all of sorcery, powerful enough to shift the balance of power between entire nations. He sincerely thanks the imperial dragon for his generosity, which leaves the dragon confused about why they keep calling him that because, in his eyes, he is nothing more than a fire-breathing dragon. The king explains that imperial is the highest title humans use to honor a dragon who stands above all others. However, the dragon says that cat dragon suits him much better because he has lived as a cat ever since the day he was born. The human king laughs at the goofy title and happily agrees. From that day onward, the prince learns magic from his best friend and, after becoming king, passes that knowledge on to his people. From then on, a cat from the forest visits whenever a prince or princess is born to play with them and teach them spirit magic. In return, the human kingdom protects cats in exchange for their knowledge. Meanwhile, the dragon continues living peacefully in the forest and raises his ever-growing family of cats. On the other hand, when the mother cat was summoned away by a human, she appears in front of a timid blonde girl at a magic school. The girl's teacher congratulates the awkward girl on successfully summoning a cat Sith and asks her to explain to her new familiar where she is. However, the girl is so shy that she starts shaking from head to toe the moment the mother cat meows. Seeing that, the mother cat realizes this girl needs even more help than the baby dragon did. Soon after, the girl explains that everyone at the school is practicing how to summon familiars, but somehow an amateur like her succeeded on the first try, even though the others have struggled for days. She even wonders if the whole thing is just a dream, making the mother cat realize her self-confidence is at rock bottom. At that moment, she decides she has to take very good care of her, since the other kittens are already nearly grown up. She believes it must be fate that she was summoned here to raise this poor girl. So the mother cat asks for her name, and the little witch introduces herself as Anne Rasa. Right after her familiar tells her to leave everything to her and focus on her studies, Anne flops over in complete shock after hearing the cat speak, and gets some cute head pats to wake her up. Later that day, Anne meets up with her new familiar after class, who immediately drags her over to the training grounds. Anne begins the lesson by casting Ice Needle, creating a tiny chunk of ice that slowly floats toward the wall before harmlessly bouncing off. Anne gets excited by its power, but her familiar mistakes it for a snack and starts chewing on it like ice cream, leaving the girl completely embarrassed as she explains it is supposed to be attack magic. Realizing Anne needs a proper demonstration, the mother cat raises her tail and fires off a lightning blast that leaves the young witch blown away. After explaining that it is just a simple spell she uses to stun enemies without seriously hurting them, the mother cat tells Anne to give it a try. Hearing that, the girl immediately panics because lightning magic is far too advanced for her. So her familiar tells her to carefully watch the spell a few more times. On the third attempt, Anne thinks she finally understands it and casts a weak electric shock. Seeing that, her familiar realizes humans perform magic better when they use incantations. So Anne shouts lightning bolt and succeeds, making her feel genuinely proud of her magic. The next morning, Anne sleeps peacefully until a furry paw slaps her awake and drags her off for another early morning training session at the practice grounds. Her first exercise is to cast lightning bolt over and over until it becomes second nature, and repeatedly draining her mana also increases her overall mana capacity. Once she is completely exhausted, the mother cat says it is time to practice the ice spell instead. Anne fires another weak chunk of ice that shatters on impact. The underwhelming power stuns her, and she commands the exhausted witch to cast it again, teaching her that magic can be trained just like stamina. Later in the cafeteria, Anne eats like there is no tomorrow, and her friends notice she is having a proper breakfast for the first time. The two even stay together during class because the professor made an exception for her, since the cat is helping with his research on how wild magical beasts raise their young. When the students leave for their afternoon lessons, the mother cat sneaks into the forest to grab lunch, where she hunts a gem rat that has a shiny ruby full of magical power on its forehead, and happily crunches on it like it is candy. After class, the mother cat asks Anne why she is already exhausted after casting only a few spells. Anne replies that she practiced a lot during her afternoon lesson. Hearing that, her familiar decides to teach her another spell, but Anne is saved by the dinner bell before the lesson begins. That night, the mother cat helps the professor with his research and explains that Kate Sith children leave home much earlier than the other species described in his book. The professor is stunned when she casually mentions that she has raised other magical beasts as well, and although she does not know their names, some of them even had wings. She then tells him she came from the place humans call the Forest of Beginners, and he explains that it is like a beginner dungeon filled with all kinds of magical creatures. With that, the professor thanks her for all the help, and they call it a night. The next morning brings the part of the day she hates the most, taking a bath in Anne's hot spring spell. The poor cat praises the genius witch who can cast such an advanced water spell at the perfect shower temperature without even using a wand. While Anne washes her, the mother cat tries to weasel out by claiming that cat Sith do not shower every day, but Anne insists she has to stay nice and clean if she is going to attend class with her every day. Before bedtime, the two study the human language together, and the mother cat never imagined she would one day enjoy living and learning alongside a human. One day, while the students are practicing summoning magic, they accidentally bring demonic beasts over from the nether. The professors immediately command everyone to use attack magic and make sure not a single one escapes the school grounds. Just then, Anne arrives and casts lightning bolt, instantly frying the demon bats and making it look like everything is under control. At that very moment, a much larger monster emerges from the summoning circle, leaving the professors horrified as they realize it is a greater demon. Meanwhile, the mother cat smiles in surprise when she sees the creature again after so long, and everyone's jaw drops in shock as the powerful demon calls her mom. The greater demon happily tells her how he searched the forest for her after hearing she had been summoned away to an unknown place. And during that search he ran into his crybaby dragon brother. When she asks him about that crybaby and the others, he says they are all doing well, but she should see them since they are still traumatized by her sudden disappearance. Hearing all that, the professor tries to speak, but she cuts him off by explaining that he is one of those winged magical beasts she raised. The big guy tries to explain that he is a demon, not a magical beast, but she remarks they're basically the same thing, and then excitedly suggests using this connection to the Nether as the perfect chance to turn the summoning area into a dungeon. The greater demon pleads that he only came to close the gate because it is dangerous, but the mother cat shuts that idea down, saying everything will be fine as long as he keeps the dangerous monsters under control. The demon curiously asks what she is even doing here. She shyly wags her two tails and proudly says she is training little Anne. Seeing that, the greater demon freaks out, noticing that her mana has grown so much that she evolved into another species, probably because she ate too many gem rats. With that, she has the professor sign a contract with the demon to create a real dungeon beneath the magic school, which gradually turns it into the most prestigious magic academy in the region over the years. Many years later, a student excitedly shares the news that the academy has a new teacher with the title of Froststorm, which, rumor has it, she is a monster who overwhelms her enemies with a lightning whip and icy spears. The students sneak outside the classroom and immediately recognize her by the famous two-tailed cat that serves as the Froststorm Witch's familiar. Later that day, the mother cat happily reunites with the professor, who is now the academy's principal. She asks about the dungeon and thanks him for taking such good care of her little demon troublemaker despite his awful personality. Hearing that, the greater demon suddenly pops out in an adorable form and asks what in the Nether she is doing there. She gets offended that those are the first words he says to his mother after all this time, while the other magic teachers stare in shock at the greater demon's tiny cat-like form. When the mother cat reveals she actually came to visit him, the greater demon complains that the path to his deepest room in the dungeon is filled with dangerous monsters. That only offends her even more because she is not some frail old lady who cannot handle a few monsters. Not only that, he rudely interrupted her conversation with the principal too. While the mother cat apologizes for her good-for-nothing son's behavior, he quickly drags her into his room inside the dungeon, where she tells him she plans to live at the academy again. Hearing that, he begs her not to treat him like her baby boy in front of the students because he has a proud image to maintain. She agrees, but the smug look on her face makes it obvious she is not serious about that. Later, the principal gathers all the students outside to introduce their new teacher. However, their excitement makes Anne so nervous she freezes on the spot like an ice sculpture. Her familiar apologizes to everyone and explains that Anne may be shy, but she is a genius when it comes to teaching magic. She also adds that if anyone still does not understand the lessons, they are welcome to come to her for some ruthless training. That goofy comment helps Anne calm down enough to finally introduce herself. A few days later, one of Anne's students asks why she cannot get past floor 17, even though her magic is fairly good. Anne explains that while she uses magic well, her mana capacity is still very small. The student cries that there is no hope for her, but Anne teaches her that magic can be trained just like stamina. She admits her own mana capacity was even worse, so she practiced every single morning before breakfast until she dropped. The next morning, the student is shocked to find Anne already waiting at the training grounds to practice magic alongside her, and she is moved to tears that her teacher would spend time helping such a hopeless failure. Mother Cat chimes in to encourage the girl and reveals that Anne used to be a weakling whose ice needles looked more like ice cubes, yet her Spartan training and Anne's hard work made her an excellent court mage. Since that day, Anne practices with her student every morning. Once the girl's friends discover her unfair secret training sessions, they excitedly join in as well. Many months pass until the day a party finally clears the last floor of the Greater Demon's dungeon. As they celebrate, they are disappointed that the Greater Demon looks like a statue after their teacher told them he has a cute cat form. As a reward, he lets them see his adorable cat form, even though he feels his dignity get deleted with every passing second. Later that day, the principal calls Anne over to praise her for teaching her students so well, and she uses the opportunity to present a new idea. She suggests letting graduating students take guild quests as practical lessons under the guidance of experienced adventurers. The principal hesitates because that would make the Magic Academy much more than just a school, but Anne tells him to leave everything to her. With that, she organizes the very first field exercise, where students venture into the forest alongside seasoned adventurers, while her rescue team remains on standby, ready to jump in when a distress flare is fired. Right then, she spots one of those flares and immediately teleports away to help. By sunset, everyone returns safely, but Anne's students are disappointed that they did not catch a single magical beast like the other groups. Anne encourages them by saying it was their very first field exercise, and the valuable combat experience they gained by making it back safely is what truly matters, and she is very, very proud of all of them. During the graduation ceremony, Anne and her familiar shed tears of joy as the principal congratulates the students on becoming full-fledged mages. With the new practical lessons, the academy goes on to produce many top-tier mages who all have a unique story. A few days later, the cat dragon enjoys his peaceful sleep, while 3 young cats play nearby. During mating season, mother cats usually come to his cave to give birth at his cave, and this time he sees 2 cat couples arrive, one of which he also saw last year. The dragon notices one of the mothers has injured her leg, and he gets fired up when she says a human caused it. However, she explains she only wanted a safe place to give birth at his cave. Right then, he spreads his wings and takes off without another word, which leaves the cat couples behind confused and worried. The cat dragon cannot believe humans still never learn, even after his stern warning to never hunt cats unless it is for food. At that moment, he hears a cat cry out and sees 3 Kate Sith use their magic to beat up 2 adventurers who already lie tied up. The cat dragon is stunned by the sight, so he asks the 3 what they are doing. They explain that the humans are the villains, so they want to teach them a lesson they will never forget. He yells at the 3 dimwits because they should focus on protecting the mother cats before they run off to punish attackers. Still, the cats insist these humans are real scum who came from some faraway nation. That lets the dragon calm down a little because they are not from the nearby kingdom. After that, the 3 prepare to make the evil scum suffer. But the dragon stops them because the deaths of foreigners inside the kingdom's territory could start a war, and that would be bad for everyone. Instead, he suggests they hand the humans over to the kingdom for punishment, and the trio instantly agrees. As they carry the humans away, they ask the cat dragon if he will come with them, but he lets them know he has babies to deliver. Back at the cave, the black cat calls for him in a panic because his wife is in labor, and he has no idea what to do. The mother cat looks just as clueless, but the dragon notices her injured leg has completely healed, and the black cat explains he used recovery magic. Hearing that, he is very annoyed as he explains that recovery magic makes baby kittens too energetic and they try to come out early. After he calms one panicked couple, the other mother cat also goes into labor, which makes him wonder if there is some kind of chain reaction going on. Before long, the baby cats are born healthy, and the young cats happily watch the adorable little fluff balls roll all over the place. The dragon reminds them they looked exactly like this 1 year ago, and they will grow up just as quickly, so they should not slack off with their training unless they want the little ones to laugh at them later. With that, the grown-ups take them to the Red Cliffs for hunting practice. As he watches them leave, the dragon notices one of the baby cats sneak over to his claws and use bite attack, which makes his dad proudly think he will become a vicious hunter when he grows up. 2 months later, the cat dragon returns to his cave, and the mother cats leave the baby kittens in his care while they go hunt for food. The moment Claus sees Mr. Wing, he says he wants his claws and starts nibbling on them. He refuses to let go and even stands on his back legs like a human. That makes the cat dragon think that living with humans is still about as dangerous as jumping into fire. Even though all the cats that moved to the city became good friends with them, he teaches the little ones that they should stay in the forest. But Claus does not hear a single word since he is far too busy nibbling on his beefy claws. Half a year later, the cat dragon starts the day by teaching everyone magic for hunting, and the first lesson is shape-shifting magic that lets them change their form to become bigger or smaller. The baby cats go wild when they see him in his cat form and start playing with his wings and fluffy fur instead of learning anything. Next, he teaches them that hunting is the art of using claws and fangs to land a fatal blow before they eat their prey. But he warns them that prey will not just stand there and let them do it. Then he transforms into a massive grizzly bear and completely horrifies them, which is his practical way of teaching that prey runs away when it fears getting eaten, just like they did. Some prey also fights back with magic, so the best counter to magic is more magic. After that, he transforms back into his cat form and asks them to come closer so he can teach them lightning, the strongest spell passed down through generations. He notices Claus ran away and hid when he transformed, which surprises him. Later, the prince comes to meet the cat dragon, and he becomes the first human to ever reach his cave in the forest. The baby cats ask in confusion what the two-legged animal is, so their dad explains that he is the prince of the human kingdom. His son is confused why he feels no fear toward the human, so his dad explains that some humans are friends. When they see the prince have fun with the others, they start dreaming about visiting the human city. And this is exactly why the cat dragon did not want to meet the prince. After that, he trains the little ones to hunt in formation, but Claus always gets distracted or breaks formation along the way. The cat dragon senses danger nearby, so he orders them to hide in a tree. In an open area nearby, he teaches them that the two-legged creatures with funny outfits are a type of human called adventurers, and the ones facing them are ferocious wolves. When one of the little ones comments that humans have really big claws, he explains that humans do not have claws or fangs, so they use weapons to hunt instead. The young cats are amazed to hear that some humans use magic just like them, and he explains that some are incredibly strong physically, while others are very weak without their magic. As the wolves leap at the adventurers, the bald warrior smashes one away with his iron mace, and the female warrior slices another one in half. The young cats are stunned by their power, but what excites them the most is the mage who casts lightning bolt to fry two wolves just like they do. After that, the cats are happy they got to watch humans in action, and the cat dragon is glad they gained some practical experience. However, he is surprised to see veteran adventurers who usually don't come to the forest. Just then, Claus starts geeking out about how cool the human magic user is, and he believes the big stick full of mana he used to cast lightning was obviously his tail. He does not stop nagging about it all night, so he wakes up late the next morning. He joins the other cats outside as they watch the cat dragon tell the young cats that they are ready to leave the nest, and every forest cat gets to choose where and how they want to live. He asks about their plans, so the first two reply that they want to live in the human kingdom, while the third says he will build his own territory around the lake. Hearing that, the cat dragon respects their wishes and reminds them they can always come to him for help. The young cats say goodbye, and they encourage the little ones to pay attention to Mr. Wing's strict lessons, or they will starve after they leave the nest. The cat dragon makes it clear that the little ones do not get to slack off because they will also leave next year. In the blink of an eye, another year passes, and the next batch of kittens is born. They play with their brothers and sisters, and both the parents and the cat dragon reminisce about how they grew up so fast in just 1 year. They also remind them that they need to set a good example for their little siblings. One baby cat grabs her sister's paws and stands up for the first time, and just a few days later she shocks everyone after she already learns to hunt a mouse. The young ones realize the babies are growing way too fast, and they are already getting outclassed in every way by kittens. They hold a meeting to figure out how to prove their dominance, and the dark cat suggests they take down the big guy, which gets Claus all fired up to cook up a master plan. At sunset, they all huddle around one last time and touch paws before they leave. Only an hour later, they return with their tails held high and shock everyone back at home with the massive grizzly bear they hunted on their own floating above them. The little ones sing their praises, and they proudly brag to Mr. Wing that they took it down with the master plan Kiritama came up with. However, the dragon gets furious and asks the buffoons who clearly forgot his rule to hide and run for their lives whenever they see a bear or humans. Before they get roasted by his fire breath, they grab their siblings and swear they are lucky they survived, and that they should never ever fight a bear. News about the cat dragon students who hunted down a bear spreads throughout the forest, and everyone believes they will become friends with the human king. Soon, the day for the 7 famous cats to leave the nest finally arrives. So Mr. Wing asks how and where they choose to live their lives. The first one wants to raise lots of babies, the second chooses to live by the lake, and the dark one wants to claim a territory far away where there are tons of tasty mice to eat. The other 3 choose to live in the human kingdom, which does not surprise him anymore. Finally, he asks Claus what he wants to become, and the guy Loki answers human adventurer. The others are not even shocked by the guy's crazy ideas anymore. But Mr. Wing demands to know how he plans to become a human adventurer when he is obviously a cat. With a smug grin, Claus blushes as he reveals something he has practiced for a long time. He raises his tail and transforms into a perfectly human-looking boy with a magic staff. Leaving everyone staring with their jaws dropped, His siblings realize Mr. Wing is furious and about to lose it, so they all make a run for it while they still can. Mr. Wing tells them to get back here, but they completely ignore him, and the cats who chose to live in the human kingdom even ride him like a horse. Seeing that, the baby cats excitedly wave goodbye to their big brothers and sisters. As the cats leave for the human kingdom, their parents laugh their heads off because it is the first time they have ever seen someone leave the forest like this. Even the cat dragon surrenders to the troublemakers and wishes they stay safe and live happy lives they can be proud of. Many years later, the black cat wanders the streets of the human kingdom because the imperial dragon asked him to visit the royal castle since the human king has finally had a child. The cat dragon apologizes for making him go in his place and assures him he can return after simply showing his face. He even repeats himself twice to make it clear that the visit will be super short. With that, the black cat agrees for the sake of his uncle, though he cannot help thinking the cat dragon is pretty soft for someone who claims to dislike humans. Just then, he realizes all cats and humans follow the same schedule, so everyone is already asleep, and there is nobody to ask for directions. Luckily, it is obvious that the huge building with towers should be the royal castle. The black cat's paws and tails glow with wind magic, which allows him to climb from roof to roof and makes his way inside the royal castle. He forgets the name of the king's cat partner whom he planned to ask about the prince's location, so for now he decides to find a place to sleep for the night. He figures the window above has a lovely view, so he hops onto the ledge and notices the window is already open. As he experiences soft carpet inside the bedroom for the first time, he hears a baby crying and climbs onto the bed. There, he finds a tiny human. At that moment, the prince wakes up and startles the black cat before bursting into even louder cries. Seeing that, the black cat gently waves his tail in front of the prince, who instantly smiles and starts playing with the fluffy fur instead. The black cat laughs to himself that the little one is just like a baby kitten. Just then, the prince's maid walks in and wonders if he is His Majesty, the Imperial Dragon. But the black cat explains he is just another cat from the forest who was looking for a place to sleep when he found the baby, who won't let go of his tail. The maid smiles and says the prince must really like him if the crybaby stopped crying. Hearing that, the black cat becomes worried because he was supposed to meet the prince's parents first, so he politely asks the maid to inform the king that he will visit later. The next morning, the new king loudly praises the heroic black cat who once took down a bear. Meanwhile, the black cat quietly thinks the king is neither smaller nor quieter than a bear himself. After the introductions, the king asks whether the black cat likes his son, but the black cat replies that he cannot decide until he sees what kind of child the prince grows into. The king laughs and says that is the complete opposite of how he first met his own cat partner, then suggests Lord Black Cat should stay by the prince's side before making his decision. He adds he will not claim Lord Black Cat is guaranteed to like the boy because only foolish parents say things like that. The king's massive grin and his cat partner's encouraging smile make the black cat cave under pressure. The next day, Curabane watches the prince make baby noises and wonders how he is supposed to judge what kind of person he will become. The prince suddenly starts crying, so Curabane quickly waves his tail to calm him down and realizes he is going to be here for a long time. After that, the two play together every day until the prince grows big enough to climb his first tree. He asks the maid one day where Curabane is, and heads off to the training grounds, where the king explains he sent his soldiers to a neighboring country that is fighting the Demon King's army. The king admits he wishes he could join the battle too, but Curabane points out that he is the ruler of a kingdom and cannot fight in a war just because he wants to. The prince quietly listens as his father wishes he could return to his younger days, when he could freely visit the forest or become an adventurer. Hearing that, Curabane laughs and reminds the king how he used to wander into the forest only to get chased around by bears. The king confirms that is exactly why he knows how incredible it is for a cat to hunt down a bear. The king's cat partner tells their son that the black cat is a great hero among the cat Sith because no other cat has ever hunted a bear before. Curabane humbly replies that he did not do it alone, making the king's partner excitedly ask if he is one of the legendary 7 cats. Hearing all that, the prince asks him for a tougher challenge than climbing a tree, so Curabane teases him to see if he can resist playing with his tail. Meanwhile, a huge crowd gathers at the city's gates to welcome the heroes who defeated the Demon King's army. When a boy asks his father which country they came from, he explains they are adventurers who work for any nation that needs them. Inside the royal castle, the prince excitedly watches the king hold a ceremony to congratulate the heroes. But Curabane is stunned when he spots Kiritama standing among the adventurers. That means his brother's dream of becoming an adventurer has finally come true. so he can forget about becoming the one to defeat the Demon King. Later that evening, everyone searches for the missing prince, but Kiribane immediately figures out he is hiding in a tree. The prince laughs and says his friend's cleverness never fails to impress him. After that, the prince begs Kiribane to teach him magic, but gets turned down because magic training is not allowed until the age of 8. But the prince is not disappointed because he is still excited after seeing real adventurers who have the same cool aura as his father. He proudly declares that he will also become an adventurer as strong as the king himself, but then corrects himself and says he wants to become as strong as Kiribane, so he will be worthy of standing beside the cat hero. To do that, he believes he must learn magic first. Those words make the black cat realize he found a truly interesting prince, and he says that becoming a great mage alone is not enough because humans also need sharp fangs and claws, which are their weapons. The prince says he's ready to learn the sword, but Kiribane also teaches him he must also learn how to speak like a true adventurer. With that, the two leave their comfy room in the royal castle and set out on an adventure. A few years later, the entire town is shocked to see a half-naked boy dragging a dead bear through the middle of the streets while asking for directions to the guild. The guild staff are stunned and ask where the prince found it, so he casually laughs that he kind of found it in the forest, which instantly makes them suspicious. Even though the prince is too innocent to understand how society works, Kiribane feels bad that he cannot help much as a clueless cat himself. While the prince tries to convince the staff to register him at the guild, Kiribane remembers how long they planned to reach this day and how difficult it was to sneak out of the castle. When the prince is just 12 years old, he charms all the noble girls at the kingdom's ball with his handsome looks and smooth dance moves. One of the girls curiously asks who he is, so her friend explains that he is the kingdom's Prince Stanlito, and the rumor is true that all the kingdom's royals have a magic cat partner. Back in his room, the prince finally relaxes and complains that he is tired of dealing with all the young ladies trying to woo him. He likes being praised as a fine young man, but says he is still too young for romance. The prince asks why the young ladies are so desperate to catch a good man, so Kiribane explains that this is their way of hunting. To dress up is their weapon, gossip is how they gather information and scare away rivals, and events like the ball are their hunting ground. Hearing that, the prince takes inspiration from the ladies and resolves to begin hunting himself. That reminds Kiribane he has not hunted in a long time. So the prince reveals that will change soon since everything is ready as planned. On the king's birthday, security is tight. The king is distracted by everyone flattering him, and the castle cats are busy looking forward to the fireworks. So Kiribane claims he will head out early to grab a good spot on top of the castle, while the prince excuses himself by saying he is tired and wants to rest before the big show. The king gladly agrees since he worked hard all day. However, when the fireworks begin, a messenger rushes in to inform the king that the prince has vanished, leaving behind a message that he left on a journey. The king is shocked that he got completely fooled because his son had talked about becoming an adventurer ever since he was a little kid. Looking back, he admits it was suspicious how well behaved the prince had been lately. Even so, he wishes his son well, and his cat partner assures him the prince will be fine because he has a hero by his side. After that, the two cross the beginner forest and head into a neighboring country, where the prince cuts off his hair to hide his identity. His genius plan is to pretend he is just a country bumpkin and sell a wolf or bear at the guild to earn his living expenses. Then, he comes up with the fake name Stan to use at the guild, and his partner suggests they find a place to sleep for the night. Stan climbs onto a tree branch and flops over like a log because he thinks there is no place safer, while Kiribane wishes they could sleep somewhere a bit more cozy. The next morning, Kiribane wakes up sore and embarrassed that he has become so soft after sleeping on pillows for years. He looks down and finds the prince already awake. Stan explains he hid his royal clothes and put on a villager disguise, so his partner reminds him villagers also wear clothes. But Stan argues his prince clothes are way too fancy. Just as he starts feeling hungry, he spots a rabbit and leaves Kiribane speechless after pouncing on the poor thing and eating it raw like a wild animal. When Kiribane asks if that will make him sick out of concern, Stan explains he strengthened his body with magic, then laughs that he forgot to keep the rabbit's hide in one piece for underwear. From that day on, Stan spends many days in the wild training both his hunting and magic skills. Kiribane eventually asks why he never takes a bath. Stan explains bathing is not very common in other countries, and staying dirty makes his villager NPC disguise look more convincing. The scars from training in the wild also help, but he still wishes he could find a wolf or something valuable to bring to the guild. Just as Kiribane points out that wolves hunt in packs, and he cannot fight an entire pack alone. they hear a bear growling from across the river. So the cat immediately tells the prince to retreat. However, Stan argues he has learned magic and hunting from the cat hero, so there is no way he is running away now. Hearing that, Kiribane tries to talk some sense into him, but the prince forms a makeshift lightning sword and charges straight at the bear while asking his master to save him if he is about to die. That instantly annoys Kiribane so much that he one-shots the bear with a lightning spell. Afterward, Stan sells the bear parts for money and gets excited while trying on the new equipment he buys with his own earnings like a real adventurer. Kiribane is glad the bear sold well, but reminds him that an adventurer's equipment should always match their strength. Hearing that, Stan admits his current weapon is nothing special, and that a sword capable of conducting magic would suit him much better. He promises to keep training until he finds a sword worthy of a hero. But first he has to begin his adventure. The next day, Stan thanks the folks for their warm hospitality. But the townsfolk are still suspicious that the kid is not some ordinary amateur. After all, he travels with a cat Sith, can use magic himself, and has enough strength to drag a bear with one hand. Right then, a woman arrives carrying a missing poster of a certain boy traveling with a magic cat. Back in the forest, a white cat tries his absolute best to get permission from Uncle Wing to leave the forest, see the outside world, explore places no cat has ever ventured to, and make them his territory. Even then, the cat dragon warns him that the outside world is full of dangerous beings like humans and bears, along with evil magic beasts like those in the eastern mountains. But the white cat has heard that speech 1,000 times already. Later, he realizes the only thing stopping him from leaving the forest is Uncle Wing, so he keeps bothering his uncle for months. But the cat dragon refuses every single time. One day, just when he admits defeat, the white cat gets really excited. However, Uncle Wing only agrees on the condition that he wears a magic tracker so his uncle knows his location at all times. The white cat happily agrees, and with that he strolls out of the forest. The first place he visits, of course, is the dangerous mountains he heard are full of big bad bears and magic beasts. Before he dives into danger, the white cat decides to find some good food besides rats to recover his strength. Right then, he spots a place that should have lots of birds and fruit. Sure enough, he finds plenty of tasty birds ready to eat. But just as he prepares to hunt them, he notices a human girl who the birds do not sense approaching at all, which leaves him impressed. At that moment, the girl throws her net over a bird and successfully catches it, but she painfully crashes out of the tree right after. Since the white cat feels bad for the human, he pats her on the head to check if she is alive and tells her that her hunting methods are way too dangerous. The girl wonders if she hit her head too hard this time because she can hear a cat talking. But the white cat educates her that all cats can talk and his whole family speaks human language. With that, he tells the girl she is far too reckless, and her methods are not exactly efficient. But she says they work just fine, and she does not know any better ways to hunt. The white cat becomes confused that her parents never taught her anything, so the girl quietly reveals that she is an orphan. When the white cat hears she lives with a priest and 6 other kids, he counts on his stubby little paws and realizes she works hard to feed such a big family. So he offers to help her hunt more food and thinks their meeting must be fate. The girl doubts a cute little kitty can hunt, but he brags that cats are very skilled hunters. A few moments later, he completely blows her away by catching both a rabbit and a bird with his lightning magic. While the white cat happily tells her all about his dreams, the girl starts skinning the animals. Seeing that, he asks what she is doing, then lights up when she tells him it is for soup, the legendary dish he has heard so much about from the cats who live in human towns. Hearing that, the girl warmly welcomes the white cat to eat at her place, and the two head back to her home, where the white cat instantly becomes popular with the kids. They praise him for helping their sister gather so much meat. But the cat gets offended since he hunted most of it himself. While the children are stunned that a cat can talk, their big sister proudly says she also caught a bird. Right then, the priest suddenly appears behind Gally and reminds her he told her to stop hunting because she always comes back injured. The white cat is glad someone looks after her, but when Gally claims she did not get hurt at all, he rats her out for scratching up her nose pretty badly. The priest thanks him for helping, but the white cat jokes he only stepped in because Gally is hilariously bad at hunting and promised him soup. While the priest thanks him again, Gally tries to sneak away, but the priest stops her and lectures her that she needs to change her habits. The white cat cannot help feeling pleased after she gets scolded for being naughty. But his smug mood does not last long because the kids suddenly surround him and pet him a lot harder than he expected. He endures it since they are only children, but then a naughty kid starts pulling his tail. Luckily, Gally saves him by calling everyone over because dinner is ready. since this is the first time he has ever seen soup. He is beyond excited. After the priest says a prayer, they all begin eating, and the moment the white cat gets a taste of heavenly goodness, he cannot stop himself from finishing the entire bowl. He decides Gali was born to make delicious soup. That night, Gali tells all the kids kitty time is over, and they must go to bed. Once they leave, the priest asks the white cat to come to his room for a while. He unlocks the door with a magic key and reveals that all the equipment inside comes from the days he used to adventure with his friends, including the forest the white cat came from. Then the white cat tells him how hard it was to get Uncle Wing's permission to leave the forest and claim a new territory. The priest also warns him that the mountains are very difficult to cross and even shows him an easier route through them. But the cat refuses because he might miss a better spot hidden in the mountains, since the white cat wants to get stronger before he starts the search for his territory. The priest says he is welcome to stay because the kids love him, and he will get Gali's soup every day. Just the thought of her soup makes him fold. And he also makes it a side mission to train the laughably bad hunter. Right as he agrees to stay, a huge shadow passes by the window, embarrassing the little guy with his uncle's ridiculously overprotective attitude. The next morning, he gets ambushed by more kids who pet him like he is a plushy toy. But he is saved when the priest pulls everyone away for math class. Gali explains that many kids come here for private lessons from the priest, but she does not need to take classes because she already learned everything. Instead, she spends that time doing jobs from the Adventurers Guild to gather food, which surprises the white cat since she isn't a good hunter. Gali gets annoyed and points out there are berry and herb gathering quests too. The white cat wonders why humans need adventurers for something so easy. So Gali tells him the mountains are dangerous, so only adventurers like her can go there. Apparently the priest recognized her amazing talent for magic, so he taught her his own magic, which leaves the white cat even more confused why she does not use it to hunt. Gali replies that the only spell she knows is explosion. Soon they reach the guild, which he finds hilariously small compared to the big fancy ones in the royal capital where loads of people live. Inside the guild, Gali asks the old man at the front desk if there are any jobs available, and he gives her one that is perfect for her. On the way there, the white cat gets excited because he thinks they are about to explore some dangerous spot in the mountains, but Gali bursts his bubble saying that they have to go to the same place where she first met him. She says that the terrifying giant clawed locusts and razor claw moles found there, but he is left disappointed since they are just bugs. Gali reminds him the bugs are actually pretty big and vicious fighters, but her magic can handle anything. That makes the white cat realize humans are surprisingly weak. Soon after that, Gali finds the wild grass she came to collect, which is very valuable for making medicine, but harvesting it the wrong way makes it worthless, while she wishes she could gather loads of it. Pulling every plant out one by one is slow, so the white cat tells her to use magic before he remembers she only knows explosion. So he proudly steps forward and casts a spell to pull out the plants that his aunt invented because he really loves eating her vegetables. Seeing that, Gali asks the cat to help her fill the bag, even though he really does not want to. However, he folds instantly after she bribes him with a second serving of soup. A few moments later, Gali suggests they take the completely filled bag back because she cannot carry any more all the way to the guild. She is delighted because so much wild grass will earn her enough money for many days of food. Just then, the white cat goes on alert after he senses 3 giant clawed locusts nearby, and Gali also pulls her spear from the sack. He orders her to provide backup with her magic, and Gali is thrilled to finally show off her skills. Suddenly, the first locust leaps out of the bushes and gets smacked in the face by a magic-packed paw punch. Then the other 2 attack together, so he holds them in midair, which lets Gali annihilate them with her nuclear explosion and leaves the white cat stunned. He asks what that was supposed to be, and she casually replies it is the lowest level of her explosion magic, and she can cast small ones like that at least 20 times. She wishes it worked for hunting monsters without frying them alive. So he freaks out and tells her she seriously needs to practice magic control. Gali admits she tried very hard without success, which makes the white cat realize some people struggle with too little mana, but this girl has the exact opposite problem, so he offers to teach her cat magic on the way back. Gali imagines how awesome it would be to learn the magic only important people in the capital know and how much easier it would make hunting. But when she realizes she will have to make stew for him every day, she refuses because it sounds like too much work. The white cat is completely stumped, So he tries to convince her that magic makes hunting much easier and she could eat meat stew every day because of it. He points out they finished the job early because magic makes life so much easier. Hearing that, Gally reluctantly agrees to learn every day between her chores, and the white cat gets all fired up to make her a magic grandmaster. Many days later, the cat dragon realizes the reason the white cat still has not found a place to mark as his territory is his human friends. But the cat dragon also learns there are more humans worthy of trust than the ones he knows. From that day on, the white cat lives with Gally to teach her magic, and the two become best friends forever. But that's where this video ends. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.